Coach, 300 yards rushing each of the last 3 games. Share some thoughts what you've seen out of the offensive line. Trey kind of alluded to it post-game on Wednesday, but give us what you've seen now that you've had a chance to break down the film on those 5.
Yeah, we've gotten better up front, and I think this last game was probably the most consistent we've been up front with the O-line. Anytime you can rush for whatever we did, 400-some yards, they're doing something pretty good up front. And you add in your quarterback to the run game, which is always part of what we do. He's running really well, and then Trey's been phenomenal. He gets better and better each week. He's first year in the system. He's comfortable with what we're doing now, but I think every game we play, he gets even more comfortable. So, and I've said it before, you're not going to be able to run for that many yards without really good perimeter blocking. Our tight ends take a lot of pride in, our wide receivers, so it's definitely a group effort.
Give us your impressions on Liberty, what you've seen so far in breaking them down.
Yeah, very athletic, same as we've seen last year, and really across the board. I mean, now obviously on offense they've got a lot of athletes, but their athleticism on defense last year when we played them stood out, and they're just as athletic this year as well. So going to be a big challenge. We got our guys know how important it is. I think you look at Liberty against Kennesaw, but Kennesaw I watched just now watching their film. They played great, executed really well, got some momentum going, and got a great win for them. But it's still. Liberty won, 17 or 18 in a row for a reason, and playing at their place. So our guys got a lot of respect for their program and know what a challenge it'll be.
Open it up to questions for Coach.
You mentioned Huff was banged up on Wednesday. Just how's he doing?
Yeah, he get a little better. I mean, he's still. I mean, if we don't practice today, so I don't know if he would do anything today. But hopefully tomorrow is a Tuesday practice. We'll see what he can do. And try to get him along a little bit. We're not going to push it, and then you got Logan and Zion, so we've got some guys that take reps. But Tyler ran a lot. Now I'm not sure where he even got hurt at. I think maybe he was planting somewhere and felt a little something twinge. But our trainers and he are on top of it.
You expect him to play?
What's that?
Is he expected to play?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm supposed to enter my injury report, do I do one?
No, sir.
I don't know. But who's still like? I see some teams won't list no depth chart, right? I could be one of those guys. I don't know. No, I think he'll play.
Speaking of the depth chart, you guys still have Logan and Huff.
Oh, do we? Yeah, that tells you how much I pay attention to it. No, the reality is we actually, believe it or not, we have a staff meeting every day. And we review the depth chart every day. It's usually pretty quick. It's like, hey, which guy we have first here, which guy we have second, and we review the special teams depth chart. So yeah, actually, in our thing, Tyler's the starter, but we also consider Logan a starter as well because of the reps he takes and what we think about him. So, but yeah, Tyler's QB 1, I guess you want to say, and Logan would be QB 1A, AA, whatever you call it.
You guys have done especially well during the midweek games. I know there's a lot of factors in that, but is there anything you do in preparation?
No, we've talked about it before. It's everybody, I'm sure, has the same schedule. You're like, for today is a Monday for us. It's a day the player's off, and you almost forget what kind of day it is. But once you get into that routine, it's actually easier. It's not as difficult. Usually when you first go into it, or when you have the 5-day window, like when we played New Mexico, that turnaround, the 5-day window is what makes it a little bit more difficult. But we've done okay. This is the last one. It is kind of neat, to when you're not playing on Saturday, we're practicing, but when you have an hour or two to watch, like I said, other coaches suffer. It's not fun to watch them suffer because a lot of friends of mine, but it's a little bit unique. But it's going to be good to go back to a Saturday games as well. I think especially for our fans, it's hard. I think it's a lot of places. It's hard for some folks to get to the midweek games, whether working wise or what have you, and so. Saturday's always a little better thing for that, but we got one more of these, and this will be you can see on film they got a great environment. I've never seen their facilities. Look like fantastic facilities, and I'm sure there'll be a big turnout for this one.
Going into this, how do you kind of maybe help work the team thinking, hey, they just lost to Kennesaw State and we blew Kennesaw State out 2 weeks ago? How do you kind of stop that thinking so they're
Yeah, I think because they beat us pretty good last year, so our guys have a lot of respect for them. And I don't know what their schedule was before Kennesaw. I think they had an open time when the App State game got canceled. So if they had like us an open week, we look at our next opponent and the opponent after that. So they were probably already looking at us somewhat too when you have an extra open date. So it's they're the defending conference champions. Power they were in the BCS Bowl last year. I mean that's still the same team. So we're gonna get their best version, I'm sure. And our guys got a lot of respect for their program. So we've got to play better. And our guys know that. It's not that you don't want to look at too far ahead, but it's for first place in the league, right? So right now we're still in a position where every game we're playing for is playing for first place in the league. But I don't like a lot of coaches go 1-0. That's our goal to be this 1-0 kind of. It's like the next game is the most important one on our schedule. And every game, every conference. That's what we said the last couple of weeks. I mean, in the national TV, conference game, I mean, that's all you need to know.
The midweek games, obviously that gives you guys a lot of exposure. Do you hear from anybody who might not have seen you otherwise through?
I think generally in recruiting we do. I think there's so many options to watch. Like every game's on TV. Like I think people scroll. I think when you're a midweek game, there's not as many options and there's not as much scrolling. Going on. They're paying attention maybe a little bit more if they love football. So I think there's a game every night, college or pro, from now until the end of November or something like that. So, and I think it has helped the exposure. I hope it has helped the exposure for our school as well, which would be a great thing. I think Jack State, I'm biased, but I think it's a great school. So I hope, it helps the enrollment as well. But certainly it has helped our program. A lot of people have seen it, and we've done pretty good with them. I guess this is the last one for this year, but it's been, people that I've talked, colleagues of mine, have said, yeah, we got a chance to see you, which I normally wouldn't. So that's been good.
I think we talked about a lot in the beginning of the season, not last week, just the helmet-to-helmet communication and all the new tech. Kind of as the season got along, have you guys found new ways to use that? The helmet-to-helmet thing has helped my son. Is that Rhett's the one that talks with the quarterbacks on it, and it's probably good for him rather than me because he's a lot calmer than I am. I mean, they would be doing a lot of this, kind of stuff if I was talking to them. But I think that's helped some too as well. And then I also think the iPad thing. I get so busy that I'll look at it during some of these long TV timeouts so I can get there. But our guys use it all the time. I think that part was overdue. And I don't know if that's a huge thing. I mean, you got coaches in the box that kind of tell you what's going on, but it is kind of nice for the players to kind of actually see an adjustment or something you're going to make from that. That's been good.
You guys have scored touchdowns in 12 out of the last 14 second half possessions. Is that one of those?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I hadn't really looked at
like
it.
One of those leading indicators, like 25 first downs, that says that what you
Yeah,
want to do is working?
I hadn't really looked at it. We've talked this morning, our staff meeting, about possessions, and we're usually better, obviously, when you run the ball, but we're also better when we have multiple possessions and try. Defensively, I'm not a big stats guy on either side, but getting turnovers and 3-and-outs is so critical to controlling the tempo of the game. And we didn't get any turnovers in the last game and only had 2 3-and-outs. And so fortunately we were running the ball better and that helped. But when we're playing at our best is and sometimes turnovers are lucky. They gifted it to you somehow, you got lucky, and some of them are forced. You either punch the ball out or you tipped the ball or got an interception that way. And those along with the 3-and-outs. And we have not been as good in the 3-and-outs as I would have liked. We're better. We've been better in the last few weeks than we were earlier in the year. But, for us at our best, we're getting some 3-and-outs and then making their defense come back on the field. And we get to play with tempo. So that part of it has been good. And, in this last game, we were able to run the ball so well that it overcame our lack of getting 3 and outs and turnovers. But in order for us to beat Liberty or beat some of these other teams, we've got to do a better job of that.
To circle back around to Donnie's question about the 300 yards, Huff is a big part of that. He runs so hard. Are you ever tempted to say, maybe dial it back a bit, or do you like how he runs?
No, I like it. I don't. I think you got to let them play with the way they want to play. And he's kind of sneaky athletic, I guess. And a lot of people say, well, he runs a power runner, but he's got a little stiff. I think the most underused technique for any running back or runner, quarterback runner, is a stiff arm. Everybody used to do it. Nobody does it anymore. I mean, that's the reason why the Heisman Trophy's like this, right? Nobody uses a stiff arm, and both our backs use it a little bit. Tyler does it all the time, and so he's got a kind of unique thing, and so does Logan. But they're good runners, and I want quarterbacks. They don't all have to be, like the Pat Whites that were so dynamic, and Denard Robinsons that run pod people, but they at least have to be willing runners, and our guys are willing runners. Tyler's certainly a willing runner, and you don't want them to. Our kind of, I don't want to say technique or philosophy is touchdown, first down, get down, and they don't get down. But I don't want them to have to take an unnecessary hit. They can. I don't teach a slide. I'd rather you dive than slide, but they can jump out of bounds once they get a first down or something like that. But Tyler's a very, very competitive guy, and I want our quarterbacks to be that way.